Paris, 1858. Velvet curtains rise inside the Italian Opera House, but the real drama isn't on stage. In a private box, Paul Morphy, just 21, slender and unassuming, faces two aristocrats at once. He plays both sides of the board with a calm that borders on eerie. A bishop slides, a rook crashes through, and suddenly the entire audience gasps. The game is over in less than 20 moves, and what becomes known as the opera game turns Morphy into a legend overnight. For the first time, Europe realizes America has produced a player who can dance with the gods. His story begins earlier in 1837, under the humid skies of New Orleans. By 12, Morphy is dismantling masters twice his age, his combinations flowing like a jazz solo decades before jazz even exists. When he crosses the Atlantic, Europe mocks the idea that a boy from Louisiana could outthink its grandmasters. Then Anderson falls, Horowitz follows, and the skeptics run out of excuses. And yet, at the height of his brilliance, Morphy walks away, retiring before 22. Admirers call him the pride and sorrow of chess, a comet blazing bright before vanishing. His genius proves that world-class brilliance can spring from the unlikeliest of places. 27 years. That's how long Frank Marshall holds the U.S. championship title, from 1909 until 1936, a reign that feels almost dynastic. In an era when games are slower and reputations move by telegram, Marshall builds his legacy on fireworks. His gambits are reckless to some, but to spectators they're pure theater nights, leaping pawns sacrificed like poker chips tossed on the table. He doesn't just play chess. He stages brawls on 64 squares, and his style makes him one of the most feared attackers of his generation. His most famous creation, the Marshall attack against José Raúl Capablanca in 1915, nearly topples the future world champion. It's swashbuckling and sharp, the kind of line still terrifying grandmasters today. And he isn't just a solo act. Marshall leads the United States to gold at the 1931 Olympiad, proving his charisma translates into team victories. He embodies the American instinct to take risks, to bet big, when others play safe. For Marshall, the board is never just about survival. It's about going down swinging or walking away with glory. How many 8-year-olds can tour a country and humiliate grown men in public exhibitions? In the 1920s, Samuel Reshevsky does exactly that, dazzling American audiences with his uncanny board vision. Born in Poland in 1911, he immigrates with his family to the United States, where his prodigious skills quickly become a national spectacle. By the time most kids are learning long division, Reshevsky is already taking down seasoned masters with combinations that seem impossibly mature for his age. His childhood fame cements him as a symbol of possibility, the wunderkind who shows chess can make headlines across America. But what makes Reshevsky's story remarkable isn't just early brilliance, it's endurance. He balances his career with deep commitment to Orthodox Judaism, often refusing to play on the Sabbath, despite competitive costs. In 1948, he battles legends like Karas and Smyslov in the World Championship tournament, tying them and coming within reach of the crown. Across decades, he defeats 6 different world champions, grinding out wins with a tenacity that frustrates even the best. More than flashy brilliance, Reshevsky represents grit, the stubborn fighter who refuses to yield, proving resilience can be America's sharpest weapon over the board. I don't believe in psychology. I believe in good moves. Fischer spits out that line with the blunt confidence of a Brooklyn kid who learns chess at 6 and never doubts his destiny. By 14 in 1957, he storms through the U.S. championship, brushing aside veterans decades older as if they were training partners. His brilliance is raw, uncompromising, and already terrifying, an unstoppable force wrapped in the frame of a teenager. Fischer doesn't just win, He rewrites how Americans think about chess, turning a quiet pastime into something closer to blood sport. 15 years later, the world watches him in Reykjavik, 1972, facing Boris Spassky under the suffocating spotlight of the Cold War. Every pawn push carries symbolic weight democracy against communism individual genius, against a Soviet machine that dominates chess for decades. Fischer starts rocky, even forfeiting a game, but then unleashes some of the greatest wins ever played on the world stage. He becomes the first American world champion, a global icon, a myth stitched into geopolitics as much as sport. In Fischer's shadow, chess in America becomes something bigger than a game. It becomes history, written in 64 squares. Chess isn't always about elegance. Sometimes it's about grit, sweat, and sheer refusal to back down. Walter Browne embodies that spirit, carrying himself with the relentless drive of a prize fighter. Born in Australia in 1949, he moves to the United States in 1970 and instantly makes the American circuit his arena. Over the next decade, he racks up 6 U.S. championship titles, his games played at a tempo that leaves opponents gasping. His calculation speed feels almost unnatural, like watching a sprinter who never tires a storm that refuses to pass. Blitz becomes his kingdom, the format where instinct rules and hesitation kills. Browne not only dominates it, he institutionalizes it, founding the World Blitz Chess Association to formalize the chaos he thrives in. Around the world, he earns a reputation as a man who doesn't just play, he outworks, outlasts, and out-hustles anyone across from him. Spectators know that when Browne sits at the board, the game won't be a polite duel. It'll be a high-octane street fight. In his hands, chess becomes more than a battle of minds. It becomes a showcase of American hustle in its rawest form. Picture this. You're 19 years old, walking into a tournament hall filled with legends, and across the board sits Viktor Korchnoi, the man who nearly dethroned Anatoly Karpov. Nobody expects the teenager from Seattle to survive more than a few rounds, but then Yasser Seirawan stuns the chess world by beating him outright. Born in Damascus in 1960, raised in the Pacific Northwest, Seirawan quickly develops a style that balances calculation with elegance, aggression with restraint. His victory isn't a fluke, it's the start of a career defined by composure and charisma, traits that make him both feared and admired. Seirawan becomes U.S. champion 4 times and represents America in Olympiads, not just as a competitor, but as a statesman for the game. His winning chess series of books and his smooth commentary inspire countless players, from casual club regulars to future grandmasters. Unlike the reclusive geniuses before him, Seirawan leans into accessibility. He makes chess feel like a conversation rather than a secret code. That openness, combined with his achievements over the board, cements him as one of the most influential American players of his era. He's proof that intellect doesn't have to hide behind walls. Sometimes it thrives by inviting everyone inside. Imagine grinding out grandmaster norms as a teenager, while most kids your age are stressing over prom dates and driver's tests. Hikaru Nakamura does exactly that, becoming the youngest American grandmaster in 2003 at just 15. Born in Japan in 1987 and raised in New York, he thrives on fast-paced tactical chaos. 5 U.S. championship titles later, his name sits comfortably among the world's elite, often ranked in the top 3 globally. His style is sharp, unpredictable, and unrelenting, the kind of play that makes opponents sweat bullets, even in equal positions. But Nakamura's true revolution isn't confined to tournament halls. It happens on screens. Through Twitch streams and YouTube uploads, he transforms chess into a spectator sport for millions, who who never cared about the game before. His speed runs trash talk, and blistering Blitz sessions collapse the distance between elite chess and casual fandom. He proves that personality can amplify talent, that a grandmaster can be both entertainer and competitor without losing credibility. Nakamura doesn't just win games. He changes the culture, dragging chess into the digital age and making it impossible to look away. In 2014, the chess world blinks hard when Fabiano Caruana hits a peak rating of 2844, the second highest in recorded history. Born in Miami in 1992 with both American and Italian roots, he embodies a cosmopolitan blend of discipline and ambition. His play is clinical, a surgeon's hand applied to 64 squares, carving through opponents with relentless precision. Watching him in peak form feels less like sport and more like inevitability, as if every move is drawn from some invisible blueprint. 4 years later, he challenges Magnus Carlsen in the World Championship of 2018, holding the score 12-12 before rapid tiebreaks decide the crown. Though he doesn't capture the title, his run elevates American chess into the heart of the modern elite. He racks up multiple U.S. championship titles and anchors the gold medal team at the 2016 Olympiad, proving he's more than just a solo act. Caruana's presence reminds the world that America isn't just riding on past legends, it's competing at the very peak of contemporary chess. Some champions roar. Wesley So barely raises his voice. Born in the Philippines in 1993, he chooses to represent the United States in 2014, bringing calm determination to an already fierce lineup. 3 years later, in the 2017 U.S. Championship, he defeats both Caruana and Nakamura, announcing himself as more than just a quiet presence. He proves his value on the biggest stage earlier, helping Team USA capture gold at the 2016 Chess Olympiad, a victory that signals America's return to the top. His consistency, discipline, and understated demeanor make him a pillar of modern American chess. In 2019, So faces Magnus Carlsen in Fischer, random a chaotic variant where deep preparation means nothing, and beats the Norwegian at his own game. It's a symbolic victory, showing that beneath So's soft-spoken exterior lies a competitor with steel in his veins. He doesn't thrive on theatrics or headlines, but his moves cut just as deeply as any firebrands. In a world where noise often overshadows substance, Wesley So embodies the opposite, a reminder that quiet strength can be the most dangerous weapon of all. Leinier Dominguez doesn't crash into the spotlight with wild sacrifices or headline-grabbing controversies. He builds his reputation like a craftsman piece by piece. Born in Havana in 1983, he rises as Cuba's greatest talent, crowned World Blitz champion in 2008 with lightning-fast instincts. Yet his strength goes far beyond speed. Dominguez earns global respect for his opening preparation, the kind of meticulous work that dismantles opponents before the middle game even begins. In 2018, he transfers federations to represent the United States, a quiet move that instantly boosts America's already stacked lineup. Trusted as Fabiano Caruana's second during critical World Championship campaigns, Dominguez becomes the strategist behind the strategist, sharpening weapons others eventually unleash. At Olympiads, he anchors top boards with consistency that teammates can rely on when the stakes feel unbearable. His style doesn't scream for attention, but it commands it through accuracy, balance, and sheer professionalism. In many ways, Dominguez is the finishing piece that completes the modern American powerhouse, proving that greatness isn't always about fireworks. Sometimes it's about the calm, steady hand guiding the storm. Alongside the giants, other names shaped American chess in ways just as vital. Gata Kamsky, born in 1974, became a 5-time U.S. champion and World Championship finalist, proving American grit could stand tall in the post-Soviet era. Reuben Fine, active in the 1930s and 40s, wasn't just a top contender for the crown, he was also a brilliant psychologist and author whose books guided generations. Irving Chernev, with his clear, witty writing in classics like Logical Chess, Move by Move, made the game accessible to casual players everywhere. And Alexander Onishuk, born in 1975, brought steady strength to U.S. Olympiad teams, later shaping the future as a respected coach. Together, these figures ensured chess in America wasn't just about champions, it was about inspiration, education, and making the game part of everyday life. From prodigies who dazzled in candlelit halls to streamers commanding millions online, American chess has never stood still. Each generation reinvents the game, carrying forward a mix of daring discipline and unshakable belief. Today, the United States sits firmly among the world's elite, proof that genius here isn't an exception, it's a tradition. The only question left is simple: who will rise to carry this legacy into the future? If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Which American player inspires you the most?